This is day 255 of the Arukh HaShulchan OC. If you would like to sponsor an upcoming share more of the Arukh HaShulchan OC, please contact me directly. It would be very greatly appreciated. Today we're supposed to start from Kuf Ayin Hey, Sifir Aleph, but we did that yesterday because we wanted to round out the Siman. So today we're starting at the beginning of Siman Kuf Ayin Vav. We are going from Kuf Ayin Vav Aleph to Kuf Ayin Vav Zayin Vav Bichlal. Din Bas Parperes Shapas Poter Parperes. The halacha of bread and its accompaniments, that the bread exempts the accompaniments. If you made a bracha on a parperes, which we will call for our purposes hors d'oeuvres, before you eat the meal, potes parperes achmazon exempts the or the they're no longer hors d'oeuvres, but the let's call them desserts, which are after the meal. Berach alapas potes parperes, made a bracha on bread, you exempt the parperes. But parperes lo parperes apas, but you made a bracha parperes, you do not exempt the bread. Beshamrim aflo ma'asek, they are not even things which are cooked in a pot. Tanakama poter es ma'asek deira. According to Tanakama, the bread exempts those things which are made in a pot. But look at Tanakama. Over Gemara, halach is like Tanakama. Gemara nishar b'safik. Gemara remains the suffix im paskai. Hachta ma'asek deira is the ma'asek deira juxtaposed to bread, or a parperes is going on in parperes. Let's figure out on the kula. And it's when we are saving up on it, it is we are lean. Therefore, lachak shebricha parperes potem ma'asek deira. And you make the bracha on the parperes, you exempt the ma'asek deira. If you make the bracha on the parperes, potem ma'asek deira, you exempt the ma'asek deira. Now he tells us what the ma'asek deira might be. She daisu daisa. It's like a cooked porridge. The chayotzibo, similar things. Chaim bracha ma'asek deira. We made a bracha on the porridge. Potem parperes ad kan l'shono. Oh, this is a quote from the Ramah. Interesting, big example, the Pesach from a Rav. I think it's the first time we've seen that. Batur, the Bartanura. Batur Lois Kim Zeddavar. Torah mentions nothing about this. In English, Tambo, I would surmise that his reason because Mishum Yisham before Shlevech. Sham being the exact opposite is asserted. Shomer Sham Avlim Birach al Parperes Tchila. If we made a bracha on the Parperes first, Kama Modo. Everybody agrees. The potter is a pot. You don't exempt the bread. The low ma'asek there, nor the ma'asek there. Ayin shomas. So that's a Rambam parent out involved. From forshim iksholam misudas hashas. The forshim ask him from the Bavli. V'yesh shotzu shavesh dvarb. Ayin shomas those who wanted to distort his words, change the gears. I assume. Guess in the Kesem Mishnah Lech Mishnah is brought down there. Uvaru shapasa cannot be Ushami. It's clearly pasuk based in Ushami. Chuck went up for the Yerushalmi. They came with the Gemara Yesh Sufik Kazeh, and since our Gemara there's a Sufik Bezeh in this issue, for Yerushalmi Pshitole, and the Yerushalmi it is there is no Sufik, it's definitive. Pasuk Yerushalmi Yechein Darka B'Chamakom. As is the derech of the Rambam to paskin like the Yerushalmi whenever there's a Sufik in the Bavli, and the Yerushalmi has a definite position. L'chein Ramatur Hishmit Esha Esatzmo Mizeh. The Torah absented himself from this. He removed himself from the fray. The Chen Kosu Tamid Rabbeinu Yoina. B'zel Shon Miberach Parperos. If you made a bracha on Parperos, lo put that ma'asek you don't exempt the ma'asek terakan. Shon Rabbeinu Ramah b'sipro derech. Moshe Kosav shekos was that lebei Shammai ayin sham. Ramah asserts this when according to Beisham Matei Rabba halok sabol halacha. This is astonishing because he wrote this halacha. Yesh lotzim chok lo tevas lo. Some people want to erase the word lo. Baruch Hu Shadach might be Yerushalmi. Not sure where the word lo appears. But in any event, it's clear that those people who paskin the way they paskin, like the Rambam. Oh, okay. So they want to erase the word lo in the Rambam. Rambam says, well, in the Yerushalmi maybe they want to change the word because they want to say, the potter is a pass. In any event, be that as it may. So, it's clear that those, the Rambam Torah follow Yerushalmi, kind of Resh, Rabbeinu Ramah Lore Yerushalmi Zeh. And it seems that the Ramah did not see this Yerushalmi. Chenir Ikar Ladina, but Yerushalmi seems to be the primary halacha. Base Umar Paperos Maisadero. So what are we talking about here? Because the Rambam Mishnah, the Rambam writes, Shushaim Lifton Chominei Matamim. It's a name for a spread and all other types of delicacies. Maisadero Gon Harifos Vagrisim. It's like coarse granules and grains. Chulei Akalshon. This is the Rosh Tamir Rabbeinu Pirush B'Shem Rach. Going past Tanua Bikara. Maisadero is like a rusk, but it's a piece of bread which is shriveled in a plate, les botorisa the namoy, and which there is no, does not look like bread any longer. The varchen lo b'reminei mazonos, in which you make mazonos. How so? When it's mixed in with honey or other sweet things. Those are also very, very thin cakes. The name papros is a very broad category. It includes many things which are not the primary food of a person, but they come for pleasure and to draw the desire to eat. Rashi's language is that it helps for the heart, and mainly it helps the heart for digestion or for pleasure in the food. Ayin Sham. Gimel. The Torah writes, if you make a bracha by parents before the eating, you extend the parents. After eating, Perush says the Torah that means after meal, before benching, bircha pas, but there's a parperes b'tocha suda. Made bracha on bread, you exempt the parperes within the meal. Bircha parperes, don't put there's a pas. You break a bracha on parperes, does exempt the bread. Akalashon. Pisha ma'aseh gedera mitam shimon. But it leaves that ma'aseh gedera based on Yerushalmi. Rabbi Yosef lo kosav rak bircha lapas, put there's a parperes. But the Beis Yosef writes, he made a bracha on the bread. He exempts the parperes, but he explains that a puree pas dak, the very finely shredded bread, shedivkam, which you then glue together, imarak advash with soup or honey. Bircha parperes lo pater zapas ad kalashono. Bishmid hach the parperes lifnei hamazon pater parperes achamazon. He doesn't mention that the parperes before you eat, exempts parperes after you eat. For laitamo practice reasons, came in the same lekel achamazon. Perhaps, as we have said previously, there is by us no concept after the meal. We don't we withdraw our hands. We don't refrain from bread until mamish benching. So there's a parperes by definition within the meal. So for that you don't need parperes before the meal to exempt it. Because the bread exempts it. But the Rambam is difficult. The Rambam also leaves out this halacha. It doesn't usually leave out halacha which is explicit in Gemara. It's only when it's explicit in the Mishnah. Uvad says, and I also require a further explanation because of what we will see in the next sif. You made a bracha on the bread, you exempt the parperes with which you eat the bread, meaning a tavshil, cooked dishes, uperos, and fruit chayotze. And when you made a bracha on the parperes, doesn't exempt the bread. You made a bracha on Maisek Dera, Pater's a tavshil, this exempts the cooked dishes. Tavshil made a bracha on the cooked dishes, it doesn't exempt the Maisek Dera, kan l'shono. Because it's difficult. Lama tavshil no pater, so Maisek Dera have a pater. Why does a tavshil cooked dish not exempt Maisek Dera? It seems that they're the same thing. And why does it work the opposite? That Maisek Dera does exempt tavshil. Tzarech l'mar, you have to say, Mishnah, the Maisek Dera have achilim more, which is cooked in the pot. And that means by definition something which is complete, full eating. Ava tavshil who parperes b'ama, but the tavshil we're talking about here, even though it's also cooked, it's only parperes. The Chenirim Dibir Tamir Rabbeinu Yonah goes to the Maisek Dera put the parperes. Well, seems also from the Rabbeinu Yonah that way. That Maisek, he also says Maisek Dera exempts tavshil, but not Mike there exempts parperis, sorry, and not vice versa. But time and reason the came with Shilufia Shashal and Abed Sares Abed Safik Ashneim. Since according to our Shas, it's doubtful whether either way works. Raku Shami for parperis Lopata Maisaktera, Mush Kusam Shami says Paris does not exempt Maisaktera. Aval Evan Shalufia Safik Shemagmara. But the opposite remains according to our Safik Gemara. And it's Rabbanul Kula. So therefore, Maisaktera exempts Tafshil / parperis. But why the Rambam changed the language of parperis? Did she find they wanted to tavshil? Also, why do you exempt that? Why leave out that which is parperis before the meal, exempt the parperis after the meal? Hey, v'dash the meimash shenina parperis shenlifnei hamazon poter she'achar hamazon, that which you learn parperis before eating exempts the parperis after eating. Lifnei hamazon u'kayim tilas yadayim, and before the eating it means for washing by motzi. We have to compel to say this. It's because after motzi, now make a bracha on the parperis. Because the bread already exempted. According to this, it's clear. The parperis leave namos and eat the parperis before the meal. Answer bracha. You don't need a bracha because it's also a prelude to the meal. Birchas hamazon put to us, and the birchas hamazon exempted. Okay, because if that's the case, there should be a bracha achrona that you made a bracha. If you made a bracha achrona before you then washed and made a motzi, how exempt it's after meal? He cut it off by making the bracha achrona. Rabbi Zira. We see the rabbis going up to the Sudas Rosh Chodesh, in vin, and they eat grapes. Lo Baruch Sofa, and don't make a bracha afterwards. Lo B'Sheish Daito Lecho Pas Akal Shono. So it's actually a lo, as he explains here. V'hai lo kamo ela b'Rosh Shami. It's like lo. So that means, and the Yushami Klamar de Lachain. In other words, only because he had mind to eat bread. And the bread and the bread then exempt both the parperis, which in this case was the fruit, and the grapes, and the motzi. One of the Gdolim, who seems to be the Baal Tanya, writes in the following language. I'm using for the meal. Parperos, kimo, meaning masika, such as sweets, or many peros or fruits. Liftas me'mayim, to open the stomach, ugarer, and to make a person more ready to eat, to draw out his appetite. And bring the heart to lachila, to desire eating. And so don't make a bracha after them before the meal. Shaitan is exempted by benching. Just like wine before meal. But if you eat them just for pleasure, not for not in order to draw and bring the heart to the meal, you have to make a bracha after them. But any turn because they're not exempted by benching either. Like the wine of Havdalah, which evidently, according to Baal Tanya, does not exempt it by benching. That's the Graz in the Simon. Chen Kosav Shiyain, there's a bracket he says here. Chen Kosav Shayin Tzarav Dina Kmo Yain, Meitzer Bracha Achroina, Moshe Kosav Sif Kuvayin Sif Yudah, Nain Sham. I guess Shulchan only discovered that now that he says this, but he says that, like the Arukh HaShulchan himself said that, if you make a bracha on whiskey before the meal, because the most exempt as well. The Sharat Tzilin says the Chatchila it's best to eat less than a kazayis of parperos before the meal. Well, obviously, that's somewhat difficult to do if you're hungry. The Mishnah Berurah said, or even do it for the purpose of pleasure, whatever, it's difficult to do. Mishnah Berurah writes that some say if he has might eat meaning of zonos within the meal, he can certainly rely on the Brechus HaMazon at the end. But even according to this, it would seem that you have, of course, says Mishnah Berurah, it would seem you should have mind specifically that you're going to be somech on to have a chavana that you're going to exempt what you eat out because I'm Muslim. Somebody eats before the Tzilas Yadayim thinks that you have to make a bracha on them during the meal, such as fruits. If you ask them to eat more during the meal, they don't need a bracha. Things which don't need a bracha, which require when you eat them during the meal, even as a mind to eat them within the meal, nevertheless he has to make a bracha on them now. Bracha achrayna. That's my bracha achrayna now, burning fashos rabbos, which is not like the Arukh HaShulchan. It seems to say no matter what, you accept with Birkas Hamazon. The Mishnah Berurah says if you didn't make a bracha achrayna before you made Birkas Hamazon in these circumstances, but you have a Birkas Hamazon exempts all sorts of mizonos l'maisa. We really de facto do like the Mishnah Arukh HaShulchan, and we rely on benching for all this stuff. Zayin aval matzasi arash bazal b'chidusha libracha zel shara. V'adayin yesh mida revi shlonis barsha. There's a fourth measure which has not been explained, says the Rashba. V'dvarim b'livnei asuda v'dayin shtai l'chol pas achrel. Things which come before them, beyond the am might eat bread after them. So you couldn't say that these are like things which come after the meal. Between bracha and name achrem, they require bracha both before and after. Oh no, mar, or we can say shein dvarim b'livnei mitoch asuda. And these come within the meal, not on account of the suda. Shav aim morim matayva. They also bring about the desire of a gam ribu yamaza, and they cause you to eat more. Therefore, avhein einam tunim bracha achrayim. They also don't require bracha afterwards. Fiasfara rishona of a rishon ikar. Fiasfara logically a rishon ikar. Shkoshu koyim asuda ein michal asuda cloud. Oops. Rashba says if before the meal, they're not part of the meal at all. Anything before the meal is not part of the suda. Says it seems to be machlekes Yerushalmi because some on Rabbi Zira mean the anon chamyan v'chulei, what the Rishon brought in the previous sif. Near the das Rabbi Zira kol shebedai l'chol pas. Anytime he has a mind to eat bread, api shachal anavim kaidem shiyaska b'suda. Before, even though he ate grapes before the meal, it's as if you eat them in the meal. You don't make a bracha after them. Later, the Yerushalmi says, and we have not seen this Yerushalmi before, some you ate flour. And then he has to have mind, has a mind to eat bread. Does he have to make a bracha after the flour dish? So according to the Rashba, the way he learned Yerushalmi, says you have to make a bracha before the meal, after you eat those mazonos. Bracha achrayna. So he says the opposite of what he said till now. The Torah bracha achrayna. Mostly miyani. I'm astonished. So Mishnah prepares how's it going to explain the Mishnah? Says prepares before the meal. You'd say with benching, and this will he will elaborate on this further in the next sif, which is the last sif in the simon. So normally we would include it, but it's long, so we'll leave it for tomorrow night.